What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here. Oh, let me turn this off. West Ham Fan TV back once again with another video. Now, I don't want to be too negative. I don't want to be. Don't want to be too negative, says me. I've had a good season in terms of West Ham. I've enjoyed watching West Ham this year. I've enjoyed watching England. It's been really good. But I'm just here to react to the news that Declan Rice is apparently, according to sources, informed at the club that they don't want to be signing an extension of the contract at the current time because he'd been promised by the club that they would be investing in the transfer market, building a team around him, and he doesn't feel like this has been the case, as we all don't. I mean, in terms of signings, we're negative players. We haven't signed barely anyone. Am I surprised by this? No. I thought this may happen anyway because Declan's had a good Euros. He's been around some big players, friends of his like Mason Mount, Phil Foden, you know, and Sterling and players like that, Harry Kane, and some of the Tottenham players, you know, that have played in Champions League finals in the past few years. Now, I've always said Declan's too good to be with us in the long term, unless we drastically change our ambition, and that looks like, you know, my predictions come to fruition, is that he seems to be questioning what is he questioning? He's questioning the ambition of the club and therefore the owners. I do think it's the owners. I don't think it's David Moyes, to be quite honest, and it's understandable. It's understandable from the lad. They've obviously made him promises. Now, people, you know, I moan about the owners a lot, and I moan about the transfers a couple of weeks ago, and you know, there've been heated discussions on sort of Friday night pint, and you know, people who look, I've got nothing against anyone that's, you know, wants the owners to, you know, behind the owners, or people that, you know, are more positive. I wish I was more positive, but people say to me, oh, you don't know what's planning, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Unfortunately, although I don't know the ins and outs of what's going on behind the scenes, I've gotten into their psyche pretty much for the last 11 years, and I can make a pretty educated guess of what's going on. They've made him promises. They're writing checks that they can't cash, so to speak. You know, oh yeah, we'll sort it out. Sign this contract and we'll make sure we sort it out. And for want of a better word, it's obviously like lies. They've not, you know, you look at the likes of Aston Villa, who are going out there and, you know, building upon the good season that they had, and, you know, signing good young players and building their squad into something that can compete. And we're doing the absolute opposite. We're selling players. With a European campaign, we've done an absolute miracle last year to get to that European spot. Could have been Champions League, give or take a couple of results. And we're selling players, and there's no sign of anyone. You know, we're linked with this person, we're linked with that person, and, you know, people think that just because you moan about the lack of transfers and all that, you're pessimistic and you're always on the owners' cases. This is confirmation for me from a player that has got a little bit more of an insight of what's going on into the club, who's turning around and saying, you've got no ambition. You've got no ambition to push on to do anything. So I don't want to stick around too long if you ain't got no ambition. You know, I'm a good young player, well, a great young player. I can go and play for someone else that's going to, you know, win trophies. Why am I going to sign a contract with you? And you have to stand up and take note of when you know, players like Declan Rice say things like that. They're not saying it, you know. Declan Rice, he's got a wicked rapport with a fan. Wicked, no one's used the word wicked since about 1991, but he's got a really good, you know, relationship with the fans. He likes the football club. I think he loves playing for West Ham. But when someone like that is turning around and saying, look, you're not going to match my ambition, and his ambitions is going to be high, don't get me wrong, but why say it to him then? Why say, like, yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and not do it? You know, we're closing in on the start of the season. A 3-0 win last night against Reading in a pre-season friendly, which is, you know, getting more to our full strength squad. But when you think about the players that are away, Soufal, Souček, Rice, you know, when you look at that squad now as it stands, even with the bench players last night, there's not too many to add on to that squad. You know, look, there's not too many to come back into that squad. Ogbonna, you know, you're thinking about an injury or two, and we're going to be thin on the ground. And when you've got your star players turning around and saying, look, it's not going to happen here, you know what I mean? You have to start to open your eyes and say, you know, maybe that what everyone is saying around us, like the fans who and us, like, you know, people like Talk Sport who can't understand why we're angry. Well, this is the reason why we're angry. This is the reason. Because there's so many factors when you look around you, and everyone, and you know, we're not even standing still. You know, if we got Jesse Lingard's gone, if we went and got Jesse Lingard and spent 25 million quid on him, 30 million quid, we're back to where we was last season, minus a couple, because the ones that have gone, you know, were loans, out on loan. You know, we've got to spend 25 million pounds just to stand still. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that at all. I'm really, really worried, to be quite honest with you. And I know I said this last year, but I think when you look at what's going on around in the Premier League, when you look at what's going on at teams like Aston Villa, you know, I know that pandemic's hit, and I know that times are tough, and I know this and I know that, but if you want to succeed with your football club, and you know, cash money would have been, prize money would have been, you know, more last year for getting into Europe. There's going to be an influx of cash coming in. You've got to, what's the saying? You've got to speculate to accumulate, and these owners just don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. It's fucking devastating, to be quite honest with you. Knowing that we're going to be travelling across Europe to get our fucking arses handed to us, probably, in both league and that cup competition, because I can see no progression, and I can see nowhere where there can be progression. You know, I just admit your skin. Put the club up for sale. There's been rumours of a sale this year. Sullivan said last night, I believe, that there was a quote I saw, him saying that they don't want to sell the club, and you know, you know, I've never seen proof of funds and all of this from people. Well, you know, make it known that you want to go. Make it known that you want to go. I'm sure there'll be somebody interested, because as it stands now, you cannot run a football club. You cannot provide the funds to sustain the football club. You're not even investing the money that is coming into the football club to make it better. You're cutting wage bills. You're giving players away that you've made mistakes with for practically nothing, and you're telling me that you know, you can't see anyone that knows how to run a club. Do me a favour. If he leaves, there's going to be riots, I believe, unless they pull their finger out their arse quick and do something, because this is getting beyond a joke. And if we don't strengthen, we haven't even got a centre forward, for fuck's sake. If we don't strengthen, disaster, I'm afraid. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but somebody's got to play the villain. You'll think of me as a villain, I'm sure. So I've got no problem with saying it how it is, and I never have. But yeah, let me know. Comment in the comment section down below if you agree. If you don't agree, do the same. We're all about opinions here, and this is my opinion. But guys, thank you very much for watching. One thing left to say: come on, you irons.